If there's one way you could describe toys from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and slightly into the 90s, it was that they were simple. The sculpting was simple, the paint was simple, the accessories were simple. You knew who the characters were, and colorful deco was not unheard of, but deco didn't go overboard, and sculpting definitely did not go overboard. Well, a lot of that changed with the revolutionary Four Horsemen Studios. Amazing artists who added so much to the action figure and toy category. While it started off with four, get it, Four Horsemen, very talented artists, the studios quickly grew, taking on new additions for painting, for sculpting, and, well, bringing coffee. Their first breakout toys was under the McFarlane Toys banner with the Spawn line, where they essentially took a line that was already breaking new ground with sculpt, deco, and articulation, and, well, they didn't just turn it up to an 11, they basically turned it up to 900, setting the standard for what would be one of the coolest toy lines of all time, and then taking their talent to many other toy companies, and, well, one of the biggest ones that they took their talent to was Mattel. And I had the absolute privilege of working with them. Now, not in the beginning. In the beginning, I wasn't there, but they were. And the first toys they worked on with Mattel was actually Harry Potter toys that they did freelance, sculpting some of the monsters from the first Harry Potter movie for a very kid-aimed line. But in time, they would turn their attention to Mattel's DC and Masters of the Universe lines, helping to reinvent these universes in toy form, well, not once, but many, many times. And they constantly brought such a knowledge of toys. Great example is the Gentleman Ghost figure for the DCU Classics line. He was designed specifically to be reused as the Joker. Brilliant. Thinking about tooling is such an important part of toy design. And you can't talk about the Four Horsemen at Mattel without mentioning Masters of the Universe Classics. This was the time that I got to work with them, and to say it was a dream project is an understatement. We even got to do Castle Grayskull, which their sculpt of the castle is one of my favorite toys of all time. In fact, this whole Masters of the Universe toy line is probably my favorite toy line of all time. And it's because they love toys, and they love the property, and they love fantasy toys. Now, they don't just do Mattel, and they don't just do fantasy. They've done some of their own stuff, and it's ranged from sci-fi, as well as the Outer Spacemen property for the relaunch in the Glyco format with mix-and-match parts. And they've done a lot of fantasy stuff on their own, non-licensed, with giant warriors, whether they're elephants or chickens or goblins and monsters, thieves, warriors, ancient evils come alive. They've done it all. And the line, though, that they have created that has gotten the most traction and the biggest fan base is called Mythic Legions. Essentially, it is a fantasy trope line, filling in the gap between things like Masters of the Universe and Conan and other concepts to essentially provide all sorts of fantasy characters that really just don't exist in toy form as generic orcs and knights and kings and monsters and, well, really anything that could be part of fantasy. And while there are some allusions to other toy lines, and you will definitely see quite a few allusions to Masters of the Universe figures, mainly because, well, the Horsemen are such fans of Masters of the Universe figures. And hey, bonus points for those who catch what this figure is an allusion to. Don't worry, no one's grading you. Well, whether they're making allusions to other toy lines or just building out a fantasy world, Mythic Legions has become a huge part of action figure collecting over the past few years, and the Horsemen's genius really shows. Whether sculpting He-Man, Batman, or their own creations, they bring so much love for toys, for the process, and understanding how the process and collecting go together to make some amazing stuff. And as I said, I have had the absolute privilege of getting to work with them while I was at Mattel, and they were doing the sculpting on DC and Masters of the Universe figures. And getting to hang out with them at Comic-Con and plan these lines was such a treat. So when they called me and they said they had really big news to share and could they announce it on Spector Creative, of course I said, no way! But then they reminded me of something that happened at New York Toy Fair a couple years ago, and I said, oh, well, yeah, of course. So...
And now, without further ado,
Here is Eric Treadaway, founding member of the Four Horsemen, to let you know about some really big, exciting news.
Hey Scott, thanks for having us on. We're really excited to be here today and to talk about how we're converting our Mythic Legions action figure line into a video game and, really bringing the property to the next level.
Excuse me? A baking powder?
Whoa, wait. Did you just say a Mythic Legions video game? Okay, I gotta get the whole scoop. Eric, tell me more.
Really, the idea with Mythic Legions is that we for the longest time, wanted to do a classic fantasy action figure line. And aside from just creating a great, detailed, really cool to look at action figure lines, one of the things that we really wanted to embrace with this was fan ownership. And by that, what I mean is the ability for fans to come in and customize parts on their figures, to to be able to easily swap parts, to take figures apart so that they can go in and customize pieces and paint parts and just do character mashups and things like that, so that they can really not only play with these, purchase them, display them like they would any other action figure line, but there's actually an immersive element where they're part of the experience and part of the story building with the toy line. So the game is called Mythic Legions Tactics: War of the Aetherblade, and we really couldn't be more excited about bringing Mythic Legions to life for the first time. And there are so many ways that we could have come in and started to tell the story, but we love the idea of doing it with a game. Because once again, we're talking about an interactive, immersive element for the fans. And as fans ourselves, it's so exciting here to see not only these characters that we've created and grown to love come to life, but now really for the first time, we're also seeing the locations and the world building in a way that we haven't seen it before. So, now we can see Castle Silverhorn or the Castle of Four Sides and, areas on the map and, really not only get a look at them, but to actually go inside and explore. And so it just brings the world to life in a way that we haven't been able to do so far. And on top of that, like those kind of story immersive elements, it's also there's the actual gaming side of things. And of course, we're not game designers ourselves, but we're game players, and so this sort of stuff is exciting for us. And so there's so many innovative elements that the team has put in place with this game. There's new ways to play that you haven't been able to play in a tactics game before. You can choose whether to be a good character, an evil character, which faction you're in, if you want to join one of the Splinter factions, and get a different game experience no matter which of these that you choose. There's also all kinds of custom attacks and ways that you can choose body parts to attack, and some of these things, when the guys are telling us these elements, it goes so deep that they're things that we of course never would have come up with, but it's really for the hardcore gamer, and so that's one of the things that's great about this, is that you can go all the way from somebody who's really not a gamer can enjoy this game because they can just get in and play with the customizer, all the way to people who are hardcore tactics gamers are going to find things in this game that they are seeing for the first time, and they get to play in a way that they've never played before. Just like the toy line, we're keeping our fans involved from beginning to end on this project. That was really why that our first campaign was so important because we were able to get input from the fans, and then we've been able to take that and build out the game based off of fan input. And so the again, it's that's just such an important part of our toy line that we wanted to bring it here into the game. And that's the sort of thing that throughout this campaign and throughout the life of the game, you're always going to see an interactive fan element. And that's one of the things that makes Mythic Legions what it is. It makes it unique, and that's exactly what we want to see in the game as well. Yeah, we think that gaming is actually the perfect platform to tell the story of Mythic Legions. Again, like I mentioned, it's something that it's an interactive approach to storytelling. So you're not going to look at it from a distance and read a story that's being told. You're actually going to get into this game and you're going to play the story. And not only that, but you will be able to get into the customizing portion of the game, the customizer. So you'll be able to choose your character type, the way your character looks, the colors of the uniform. Just that customizer feature alone, I think fans are going to have a blast. It fits everything that we've done with Mythic Legion so far. And, with that in mind, we really could not be more excited about getting this game out to fans and letting people experience Mythic Legions in the way that, that we've always imagined. We've been seeing the updates from the team on a weekly basis, and the things that they've been showing us, we've been blown away by. And again, we can't wait to get it out there and for everybody to enjoy it.
Eric, you are awesome, and wow, the first Four Horsemen video game. I'm blown away, and I'm so honored that I was able to help let the world know about this. Thank you, guys. So check it out at mythiclegionsgame.com, and you can help back the Kickstarter to make this happen. More information there, and come back here to Spector Creative anytime for the latest information about the toy industry, the Four Horsemen, and, other stuff. And if you like this video, hey, give it a share, give it a like. Helps the YouTube algorithm. All hail the algorithm! Back that Kickstarter, guys.